Hey one hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, and yes, as Legacy United winds down the entirety of the Legacy Trilogy, which includes Legacy, Legacy Evolution, Legacy United, as well as a couple of Haslabs that were labeled as Legacy. Actually, I think all of the Haslabs thus far have been labeled as Legacy, and some selects that were labeled as Legacy. All of that is something that can be counted when we look at the top 10 releases across the entire Legacy Trilogy. As voted on by fans, that's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share. Of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes appear on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. So, this was what was voted on by fans. I have actually reviewed everything that appears on the list, and normally I would get all of them off the shelves and stuff, but this general area that I'm in now, where everything I have is stored is still in some disarray because we're still working on some renovations and stuff. I want to note something right now. Last week I had one dude who just wouldn't let it go, and he said you should have had the originals to show when you were talking about what people hope will be the next Haslab. And I was like, yeah, but the Haslabs don't exist yet. I'm not going to show the old product. We all know the old product. And he said, we don't know the old product. I'm like, then you should really learn your lore and learn your franchise. If you like it, then you should see it. Half of them, at least, I don't even have the originals for, like Rail Racer. I've reviewed it, but I don't have any of the originals of it. I didn't see the point in showing old product. That was not what we were talking about. It was going to distract from the topic at hand, and the topic at hand was Haslabs, or potential Haslabs. That's why I didn't show anything last week. This week, again, while I would normally take everything down, I'm not, but I do have every thumbnail that I've made for the 10 on the list. So we'll certainly be able to see them, and if you're interested in my full thoughts on them, you'll certainly be able to see the full review. I'm going to kind of gloss over some stuff as we go through here. Stick around certainly at the end because there's a lot that got votes that didn't appear on the list. We're going to kick things off with our honorable mentions, and our honorable mentions, there are two of them. Cybertron Hotshot, which I did not review, I don't know it, but those that voted for it said that his transformation is very cartoon accurate, and that's what they liked about it, and that's why they appreciated the update over the original. Similarly, Origins Wheeljack almost made the list. Love Origins Wheeljack. I wish he had made the list, and he was so close, but not quite there. And again, before anybody says, Origins, wouldn't that be Buzzworthy Bumblebee? No, Buzzworthy Bumblebee is over. That line is over, and Wheeljack was just released as a Legacy United Wheeljack, even though he wasn't exclusive. I know, I get it. And he was a Target exclusive. I know, I get it. But again, he wasn't actually even labeled as Buzzworthy Bumblebee. So, go figure, I suppose. So, Origins Wheeljack, Cybertronian Hotshot, they are the two honorable mentions. They did not make the list. Who did make the list? You know what we're going to do? We're going to do as we always do, and we're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Coming in at number 10, we have this guy. Tiger Hawk, yeah. And I wasn't sure how I felt about him. And I've talked about this before. In January of 2024, I saw him once and I skipped him. Never saw him until late summer. And I was like, you know what? I think I do want him. His transformation scheme is brilliant. There's so many cool colors on the guy. And the asymmetry actually kind of works. He's not going to be for everyone. But for those that just enjoy good Transformers, for those that enjoy an interesting transformation scheme where you feel rewarded in both robot mode and alt mode by going through the process to get there, Tiger Hawk is definitely going to fill the bill for that. Yeah, his look is kind of wacky, and you know what? Even now, I don't know how I feel about the guy. The character I always thought was a bit weird because I really liked Tigertron, and I really liked Airazor, loved Airazor. And kind of having this guy exist because they both kind of perished and got mashed together. I don't even know if I like the character, but you know what? In terms of having a representation of the Vok in my collection, Tiger Hawk is about it, and he takes the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9, and I said that this guy was absolutely fantastic, glorious. It is Deathsaurus. Yes, Deathsaurus was able to count. He was Legacy branded, and obviously his scale and whatnot is meant to go with that main line, and it does, because he's about the size he should be. He's a big boy. His articulation is second to none. His transformation is intuitive and generally easy, but everything feels like a nice big chunky piece that you're moving, so everything feels good and solid on him. As far as his look goes, there is plenty to love for animation accuracy. But when it comes to his legs, I'm not going to lie, there are some nice nods there for those that enjoy toy accuracy. He is, I think, a very successful mixture of both animation and toy accuracy, while having excellent articulation and great engineering. Not to mention, the dude has a throne, the dude has his chess partners, there's even a bit of chrome on there, if that's your thing. What's not to love about Deathsaurus? He takes the number 9 slot. Coming in at number 8, we have one that, man, I can get behind this one too, because it's Motormaster, the Commander class Motormaster. And when I got that guy, I said, look, in terms of a truck, I mean, he's definitely more successful as a truck than the Combiner Wars one. If for no other reason than the cab looks accurate and he has a trailer. Even if that trailer is short by some people's estimation, he has it. When it comes to like the base mode for the trailer, yeah, it's serviceable in terms of a base mode for his trailer if you go back to G1. And in terms of the robot that the cab becomes, it's an excellent transformation. Quite involved. But once you've done it a couple times, it becomes intuitive. It is definitely an example where the engineering is so complicated, but in an intuitive fashion that, yes, that does have to have some value associated with it. In terms of the look and the coloration, yeah, it is absolutely Motormaster. Whether you get the box set version or whether you get the retail version. And in terms of the articulation, second to none. Everything is smooth, everything tabs in nicely, everything moves great. Even if you didn't want to use him for Menasor, and honestly, I find him as a Menasor to be I'm not big on the Menasor. But in the Motormaster is splendid. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Not a huge fan of the Menasor, but absolutely think that the Legacy Stunticons are an excellent set of Stunticons, led by none other than Motormaster, and he takes the number 8 spot. Coming in at number 7 is another one that I gushed over when I did the review, and it's this guy, G-Axis. Absolutely fantastic. I had the deluxe and I liked it. But undoubtedly, the new G-Axis is splendid. An excellent playing mode that homages his comic representation. Wild color scheme that again homages his, I'd say, his most popularized comic depiction. There are concerns on many copies of the yellowing, but I think that this is a case where even if your copy suffers from some of the yellowing, either paint it white or maybe it's okay to leave it, because the guy is such a wacky color scheme with the yellows, the reds, the greens, and the whites, that maybe him yellowing is kind of okay in this case. I don't think mine has, or if it has, it's only ever so slightly. So I find the transformation to be wonderful. The look to be wonderful. The articulation is fantastic. I don't know if there's anything I've tried to do with him that he can't pull off. Yeah, I think he wins in all 3 categories. He wins across the board, and G-Axis takes the number 7 slot. Coming in at number 6 is Beachcomber, and the Paradise Parakeet, I suppose. Look, just recently that went up for pre-order again, and I get that the first release of this guy in Evolution, toward the end of Evolution, was wrought with poor distribution. If you don't have him, get him. I love the Titan's Return, and this takes everything good about the Titan's Return and expands on it just a little bit to make it even better. So it gives him ankles. It improves on some of the arm articulation. even in terms of the transformation scheme, when you get to that final alt mode, it's a pretty good, solid alt mode. I like the Doom Buggy. I like the transformation. I love the robot. The articulation is great. The chunk and solidity is there. What's not to love about Beachcomber? And he takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever coveted, ever popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark today, we stick with Legacy. I think it's United, I think, that this guy came from. And this guy, Gears. A lot of people salivated for this guy ever since he was teased for Kingdom, which didn't happen. He got pushed ahead and pushed ahead. And I'll say this. I think the transformation is intuitive and logical. I like that you can actually take his blaster and store it underneath, which I do show in the review. I think the truck mode is serviceable, though I really don't like the hinges on where his doors should be, because hinge doors, I guess, you know. I wish that had been handled a little bit better. Undoubtedly, the robot looks like it jumped off the screen. I have painted the chest, the inside of the chest of mine, to look like that episode where, I don't know, they lift up his chest. The one where he has a fake smile, like he's not his grumpy self and whatnot. Like they do something there with his chest. So it looks like that. I'm glad all that's molded in there. The articulation, like, again, I like the Generations Legends one. That was fine, I guess. And it worked fine for me, and I had no issue with it. But I'm not going to lie. A dedicated thigh swivel, ankle tilt, a waist. These little things certainly make the Legacy version better than the original. And not for nothing, but the head on the Legacy version is definitely more accurate than the head of the Generations. I think I said original earlier, but I meant to say Generations. I like the Generations. I love the Legacy, as did a lot of fans, and that's why he takes the number 5 slot. At number 4, we have another one that I scored super high. I kind of gushed over, and I'm so glad that I actually picked it up, and it is this guy. Transmetal 2 Megatron from Beast Wars, the one that turns into that big red dragon. And I get that there are some upgrade kits that make him even better, but if you don't have the upgrade kit, what a fantastic version of Megatron anyway. The articulation is terrific. The transformation scheme is really kind of second to none. I love the dragon mode. I love the robot mode. Yeah, granted, going to dragon mode there, you really got to do... You really got to push certain things certain ways to make sure that you tab everything in just right. But what a result in the end. What a gorgeous, glorious dragon in the end. What a gorgeous, glorious robot. Would he have benefited from, say, a wrist? Yes. Do I wish that his head arm was a little better articulated? Maybe. But I struggle to find much to complain about with him. Is he perfect? No. Is he super strong and one of the best from the entire trilogy? Absolutely. Does he have amazing shelf presence? Undoubtedly. As I look over here and see him up there now, I can't quite get to him, but as I see him up there now on the shelf, even now, just glancing, I immediately have my eye drawn to him. Why? Because he's just that good. And he takes the number 4 slot. Now we're into the top 3, and at number 3, I believe this guy was actually a figure of the year, like number 1, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years back, and it's this guy, Tarn. He is so good. That mold is so good. I have it for the Doom and Destruction Bludgeon, who I use as Pillage. That's the name I gave him, because I didn't need another Bludgeon. I was happy with my Reveal the Shield version, or Hunt for the Decepticons, or whatever it was. But when it comes to Tarn, he's been reissued a few times and always sells. I never see Tarn sticking around on the shelf. And I myself am very blessed. I have a custom Tarn that was done for me, painted up beautifully. And I actually reviewed that in a Tale of Two Tarns, where I compared my custom one to a stock one. The stock one I actually gave to someone else to enjoy. I got the 4-pack that had the like Cyberverse accurate coloration in it. That looks beautiful too. I wanted a second one because I wanted a couple of Tarn drones to flank my actual custom painted Tarn. And I was lucky enough to have a second turn sent to me. I have 3 versions of that total mold. A custom flanked by 2 that look like the Cyberverse. Perfect Decepticons. And you know what? It's fantastic every time. Excellent articulation. The only thing that I would improve with the articulation is when I go forward with the arm, you can't take it out to the side. That's a shame. Other than that, huge range of motion, everything free moving. He stands like a champion. He's thin, so he doesn't take up a ton of shelf space. He is an involved transformation that gives a really solid tank in the end with a turret that's able to move around. What's not to love about Tarn? And he takes the number 3 slot. And now we're into the top 2 across the entirety of the Legacy Trilogy. And at number 2, we go with Commander Class Magmatron. Totally in for this guy. Those that tend to criticize this guy are people that say, well, I'm not in the Beast Wars and I didn't get him. I get why you would probably criticize him, because you would look at him and say, what a hodgepodge weirdo that is. But with him in hand, holy moly. So all 3 dinosaurs feel very hefty with decent articulation, especially the blue pants lad. I can't remember what that dino's name is now. Pardon me. The transformation you would think would be a hodgepodge mess, but it's really not. Putting him into the weird chimera kind of triple dinosaur, yeah, that's odd and looks a bit unwholesome, but it's not really that hard to do. Going from there then to the actual robot. I said this is where it's got to succeed. As a commander class, it has to succeed. It has to be solid as one big bot, and it absolutely is. It imposes over Big Convoy. And while I think they'll one day do a Big Convoy, it actually scales well with the leader class Big Convoy from several years ago, because he should be much bigger than Big Convoy. The articulation is splendid. And admittedly, I don't think there's like officially a waist because of the way you're supposed to tab something in, but you can pick up a certain flap, and he does even have a bit of a waist swivel. I don't know if you get it all the way around. I haven't tried. Maybe you could. Considering you have 3 parts that have to go together to make this guy, to stick in something like a waist swivel is astonishing. I do wish that he had wrist rotation, but he has fingers. He has a wide range of motion on the arms. Not nearly as hindered as you would think. About the biggest hindrance would be, I wish the head could tilt up and down rather than just go left and right. And that really is a limitation because of the way the wings are kind of on the back of the head. Yeah, he is splendid. Again, great shelf presence. He looks like a wild hodgepodge mess, but at the same time, when you see him and got him in hand and you see how hefty and solid he is, you also realize that in any display, if you see him thundering onto the battlefield, man, oh man, you know a big bad threat is coming. Magmatron was definitely a risk to take as a commander class, but a risk that absolutely paid off. He is splendid, and he takes the number 2 slot. And now very tippy top number 1, and it's this guy. Commander class Optimus Prime. And you know what? It's not my Optimus Prime. I was lucky enough to have this sent to me by our good buddy Mike. Shout out to Mike. And I reviewed it, and you know what? While it's not my Optimus, it is exactly what Unicron Trilogy fans deserve for an Armada Optimus Prime. The original Armada Optimus Prime, I detest. I don't even think it should be a Transformer. I think it's utter trash and garbage. People have said that they love it. I don't understand why. It's one of the worst Transformers I've ever had the displeasure of reviewing. Not to mention, the gimmicks in it have been known to set on fire. Certainly with one copy that I saw a review of. I can't remember who did the review now. Doesn't matter. In Super Mode, it was a block that could do nothing. Then we fast forward all these years and we got this guy. And I reviewed it and I said, you know what? We'll see. The small robot, just the main Optimus, really functional. It'd be nice if he had a waist. Other than that, he's splendid. The Super Mode absolutely shines. It's fantastic with a good, solid, hefty connection, as well as a full range of motion and articulation that you would think would be a lot more hindered by the kibble than it is, but it's really not. Super duper impressive. Very show accurate. A couple of things not quite show accurate, but very show accurate. And then The base mode, as simple and weird as it is, again, it's functional and it moves. Even in my review, yes, I made a couple of errors in the transformation. Like the blue things on his knees. I don't think the stabilizer pieces. I know I messed up with those a little bit because I tend not to use them. I find those a little inconveniently placed, so I do tend to forget about them. That said, that one gripe about those stabilizers out of the way, I don't think there's anything to dislike about it. I'm not even a Unicron Trilogy guy. Not my era, not my prime. And even I agree with the voters that, you know what, from the entirety of the whole trilogy, he probably do deserve to take the #1 slot. And we've gone from 10 down to 1 once again, my friends. Other ones that got votes, because I think the list was quite good. And again, very subjective, but the most objective way we can do it is fan votes. Other ones, though, that got votes, and maybe your favorites are here as well. Some of mine are. Cybertron Starscream. I've heard that that's really similar to the Siege Seeker mold, so I would expect it to be very good. I don't know it. The Fractured Friendship of Ryan Pax, that's a pretty good one. Windblade, I've heard only good things about that mold, not one that I know. Armada Starscream, a lot of people like that one too. Filch, that uses the Air Razor mold. I love Filch, love Air Razor. Elita 1, going right back in Legacy, the car mode Elita 1. I mean, yeah, I got it as Elita, I got it as Strong Arm. I might even have it one more time. It's an okay mold. I see it. I certainly see the appeal of having Elita have a car mode. Prime Cliffjumper from the 4-pack. What else do we have here? Trashmaster. He did not get the love he deserves. Trashmaster is a hoot of a Voyager. Let's see. Black Zarek. Yes, he was a Selects release, but he was certainly Legacy. Black Zarek is splendid. Really, really splendid. The Menosaur Gift Pack. The Legacy Inferno, the Predacon Inferno, Animated Motormaster, the Doom and Destruction Bludgeon, Nova Prime, Skids, Tidal Wave. I thought the Tidal Wave was really going to rank. Cosmos, I thought Cosmos was going to rank. He's splendid too. What else do we have here? Animated Optimus Prime Sandstorm, Tarantulas. Oh man, Tarantulas is so good. Who else do we have here? Cybertron Metroplex, the Titan Class 1. The Nemesis, Titan Class Nemesis. None of the Titans made the list, funny enough. Override, I think she's really splendid as well. Who else do we have here? Animated Galvatron Twin Cast. The Deluxe, I guess, Toy Accurate Optimus Prime that recently came out. Silverbolt. I really was happy to get a Voyager Silverbolt. Galaxy Shuttle. Whoever expected a Galaxy Shuttle? Shard, Buzzsaw, Scraphook. Who else? Who is this? Vector Prime. Oh man, who is this? The Star Raider Lockdown. I could go on all day with these releases, honestly. Them and even more. Did your favorites make the list? Did it make the honorable mentions? Did it make the shoutouts here at the end? Or didn't appear at all? Maybe your favorite was something completely different. Maybe your favorite was, I don't know, one of the like little core class things? Like maybe it was the Beast Machines Cheetor? Maybe that was your favorite. Didn't get any votes. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Why not, right? It's free. Why not? And don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.